vortex. Love from the vortex. Welcome to Fall into the Vortex with Yolie, where we talk about all things love.
Hey everyone, thank you so much again for joining us. Fall into the Vortex with Yolie. I am so excited to be here. I'm especially excited because I am joined by not one, but two beautiful people that I love. And I'm gonna let them introduce themselves in a moment. But you remember, if you've watched the show before, we invite our guests to share anything that's on their mind and on their heart. And then I ask that in this case, each of them share an excerpt or a poem from Love from the Vortex. And then based on what they say, we just fall into an unscripted conversation. So with that, I'm going to turn first to you, Moza. Tell us who you are.
Well, hi, I'm Moza Coote. I am blessed to serve the students of New York City. I work for the New York City Department of Education. I support mentors who support first-year teachers. I'm also a mom, a wife, a Black woman, proud. And it's just a blessing to be here. You know, I've met Yolie and she's just a gift, and it's really an honor to be here with you, Yolie, and you, Leo. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Leo, tell us who you are.
My name is Leo Singleton. I am a New York City public school teacher. I'm also a mentor with NYC Men Teach, which is an organization that is designed to recruit and retain male teachers of color. And that's been some really rewarding work for me. And I am spending my summer vacation, getting ready for my next year. I've learned a lot in just the last few weeks.
Yes.
That has actually been really transformational for me. And so I really look forward to seeing my new students.
Beautiful. So Leo, let me flow in with you and, you know, tell us anything you want to share, what you're working on, what you're thinking about, or you can share anything at all.
Okay. Well, as I said, I've been spending this summer doing a lot of work. A lot of it has been around racial equity. But at the core of that, I think is for me anyway, love of Black people.
Yes.
But really to actually even get to that point, because not all of us are there. And I must admit that I feel like I always was there, but we can always do better.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that I've learned over the last couple of years anyway, I'm a very different person when it comes to how I relate to other people. And I think part of that has to do with the work that I've been doing on myself.
Self-work. Mm.
Yeah, self-worth, which is really important. Before we can even get to self-love, right? I think we need to really think about self-worth. Not really easy for Black folk in this country, around the world, but especially in this time. So that's a lot of thinking that I've been doing.
Beautiful. Moza, share with us, what are you working on, or anything at all that you want to share?
Well, right now, you know, I think this is probably the first summer that I'm trying to make resting a priority. You know, I've been just, you know, in some sessions with Yolie and this idea of what self-regard, and it's so tied to just understanding yourself and understanding the community in which you are a part of. And really and truly right now, I'm resting, not doing the summer school, the summer programs, and I'm just trying to enjoy my girls. During remote learning, I felt like for the first time I was seeing my girls. Usually we're racing, like, let's do homework, let's cook the food, take your bath, let's go, you know. And for the first time in the middle of working, I got let into, I think, the opportunity to see my girls as students, as just human beings.
Yes.
And I mean, it answered something I didn't even realize how much I was craving for, just this time to pause and connect and bond with my girls. The minutes go by so quickly, sometimes not so quickly if you're dealing with the math you don't understand, but you know, I'm really trying to just enjoy them, love on them, and just enjoy this summer with them. So when I go back, I'm refreshed. We're more refreshed and ready to, you know, deal with the serious work we've got ahead of us.
Beautiful. So it sounds like all of us to some extent have been working on ourselves, our families, our relationships. Yeah, that is a blessing, I think, that has come out of all of this. But we're going to fall into the vortex a little bit, right? And I'm going to ask, Leo, let me start with you, if that's okay. I'd love for you to turn to the book and read a poem or an excerpt or anything that hits you. And then Moza, have you do the same. And then if we could just come together and how we flow to talk about why, each of you talk about why you chose that particular piece or that particular poem. And since I'm forever the teacher, everybody knows this by now. Pick up your books if you have them and turn to page. So tell us what page, Leo, we're going to.
Page 128.
128. And which section is that? I should know that by heart. That's the Tyrone section.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes,
128. Okay. Are you there, Moza? I'm there.
I'm there.
Okay. We're there with you, Leo.
All right, thank you. And the title of the poem is I Want. I want. For the past 2 years, I've been having a conversation with myself that goes something like this. Yolie, you have to teach someone how to love you. You have to know what you need and believe that you are deserving of the love you desire. Never have I felt the passion of these words more than the moments that I spend with you. Months seem like minutes, and minutes are never enough when I am in the presence of you. Your boldness to share what you want has inspired me to write my own list of desires. Unafraid, with a refusal to be shamed, I admit that I want someone to love me in an R&B love song kind of way. I want someone to hold my hand when the cold wraps me up in an icy sweater. And on the hottest day of the year, I want someone's eyes to spark at the sight of mine, like I'm the greatest light show in July. I want someone to smile as wide as the Grand Canyon when I call or text. I want someone worth seeing the Grand Canyon with. I want someone who goes to the Grand Canyon with me, but still thinks I'm the best view. I want someone to think of me morning, noon, and night. I want someone to think of me when they see another couple holding hands, the sun caressing their faces. I want someone to miss me. I want someone who hits me up on the daily. First, always a good morning text and a how was your day phone call where they can't make it in person. I want someone to touch me in places that I am too shy to ask. I want someone that I can trust all of my private spaces on my body with, all the private places in my mind, my soul. I want someone to kiss me into high vibrations, transform my mood, and make me close my eyes at the very thought of his soft lips on mine. I want someone to cry with, laugh with, do with, be with. I want someone to unzip my dress at the end of the night, to slip off my heels, to come undone with. I want someone to hold, to whisper things only the impulsive me says, without control, without judgment, only with ease. I want someone to embrace my togetherness, my stick-to-itness. I want someone to want me just as much as I want him. Not more, not less, but in a way that is even, balanced, limitless. I want someone who will not run, who will hold my love with care and say, thank you for trusting me with it.
Thank you for that reading.
Thank you for the poem.
Moza, which poem would you like to add? Wow, wow, I can't wait to hear why you chose that. Where are we turning with you to, Moza?
The page right before 127, baggage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You carry the story in your eyes. It weighs on your shoulders. There are days you swallow it whole, but on the rare occasions when you set it free, those of us who listen and hear are blessed and made all the more wiser.
Ah, I got chills actually. Wow.
Yeah.
Look at this poem, is amazing.
Oh my gosh. But it's your voice too. And even as Leo was reading, you know, there was something in my body that responded to your voice. I'm so blessed to have people that I care about, that I love, to fellowship with me in this way and read. So just thank you for the conversation that's about to happen, and thank you for those readings. Leo, why I Want?
I don't know, because when I read it, it actually just made me think about me, made me think about how difficult it is for me, or was, for me to, not even to, before I even get to the point of telling someone, you know, what I want, just realizing, you know, we talked about self-worth before, very briefly, but just getting to a point where I can even have that conversation with myself. You know, that's having the conversation where you're really aware of what it is that you want in a love relationship. A lot of us, you know, we look at other people and we see relationships and we see love being performed. And so we, and, you know, we grow up on fairy tales and we watch television. And to a large extent, we're told what love is. And also, you know, subliminally, I think we're being told what we should want. And so much of that is about loving other people, and not really thinking about loving yourself and what it is that you want. Because I think when we go into a love relationship, just spending our time trying to make other people, I think I have in the past gone into relationships where I've sort of tried to make other people love me. You know, I jumped through all of these hoops to, you know, do the things that I think that they would want me to do so that I would be lovable.
I can relate. Boy, can I relate.
And so, you know, what this poem does is it actually, you know, there are times when you actually, because I'm older, I've gone through many moments where I've just, you know, I've had many trips to the vortex. And, you know, I like to believe that every time I come out of the vortex, I come out a little wiser. And I think that, you know, it's been a process to get to this point. And I don't know that I actually was really at this point until I read the poem, you know, because it was put in words that, you know, you actually, you know, because all of these things, you know, wanting to, I mean, I want someone to love me in an R&B love song kind of way. I mean, come on. I mean, that's it. Yes, don't we all want that? And just pick a song. It doesn't matter what song. Just pick a song, any song. And so that's really, you know, yes, you know, and to be in love with yourself enough to be able to say that, you know, even if you don't say it out loud, but to be able to say it to yourself and know, okay, you know what, this is what I want. And, you know, and it's not selfish, and it's not selfish. And then another thing that I just absolutely love about these poems, and I actually love the way, you know, a story ends, a book ends. And I just love that, you know, that last line. You know, when I'm teaching my kids, I was like, you know, you have to have like a wow statement. You have something, you know, when they close the book, you want them to say wow. And when I close this book, I say wow. That last line, you know, selecting someone to love who knows that what you're giving them is precious, and that they know it, and they know it enough to say thank you for trusting me with this, because that's what it is. It's trusting someone else with your love, which is deep.
Woo! Oh my gosh. Moza. Woo, Leo. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm still sitting with so many statements that you said. I'm like 3 minutes ago, you know? And the thing about time, which is sometimes so false, but yet at the same time, we have to adhere to it. It makes us keep moving. But I want to let you know that I am sitting along every sentence and moment of what you just shared. Moza.
Leo. That was good. If that was a meal, I'd be licking my fingers.
All right. Lick the plate. Pick up that plate. Wow.
You know, as you were sharing, Leo, I was just thinking about how what I heard you sharing is this idea of it's very hard to bring someone into, you know, honest love, honest and sincere experience of love if you haven't reconciled what that is for yourself. And the poem that I chose, Baggage, is really about, you know, what we do with what we've experienced, what we're feeling. And this poem, Baggage, you know, it definitely applies to the love relationship. But to be honest, I saw how it applies to just so many scenarios of things we do carry and things we withhold from other people. Either is it shame, because in the poem it says on rare occasions. This experience, whatever this experience this person has lived through, well, Yolie. Yeah.
And in that case, it was actually Tyrone. So it's my experience, but recognizing the baggage that he carries. And I saw it all in his eyes. And I actually wrote that poem based off of a photograph that he sent to me. So, you know, yes, my baggage, his baggage.
Yes.
Yeah, our baggage.
Our baggage, you know. But this idea of like swallowing your story and digesting it, when you try and digest it on your own, it's like, you can't carry this. Like, even if you believe you're carrying it, people can see the toll it's taking on you. And what a gift when you can release it. And I think there's so much fear in releasing it, because when you release your story, there's an element of vulnerability and there's a lack of control. You don't get to control who wants to hear it, who listens to it, how it's received. But I see how in this vulnerability and in this release, there's healing, there's wisdom, there's growth, there's this idea of testimony, you know, the idea of a testimony is something I've been through and either I'm working through or I've worked through it. But the idea of testimony is not only sharing your own process of overcoming, but empowering others to overcome too. That by hearing how you've come through, you know, whether it's the rough side of the mountain, however you've come through, it encourages and empowers me to say, I can come through too. But in order for me to walk away with that wisdom, I need to be willing to hear you and to listen. And I was just also thinking how this really ties into like as people of color, there's always this idea of secrets and things we don't tell and things we won't release. Things you can't tell it, you can't say that. And when our heritage as people of color, as an African woman,
Yes.
storytelling has always been healing. It's always been how we build community and connection. It's how you get the wisdom. It's how we pass on the learning that we need to do individually and collectively. You got that in a story. And like right now, when we hold back the story, we almost disconnect ourselves from that tradition. And why are we holding the story back? Wow. We're afraid of, this thing that we've taken of the oppression and the colonizers' way of only certain things get put out there, Wow. It really dismembers us from our history, and it really takes away that heritage we have of how the story is healing. And in order to really, get the healing, we have to reclaim the story and reclaim its power to heal us as a community when we have the courage to share it.
My gosh, Moza, so much of what you said, just the power in both of you, your brilliance, I am inspired by and humbled by. I just want to say that, and how you're helping me see myself and my story yet again in what you're sharing. Moza, something you said that I can definitely connect to about who decides what's worthy of a story and what should be told. For me to not be in so-called English literature in the academy and to put out a book of poetry and not care whether or not my colleagues saw this as scholarship, not care about how people would perceive after I, as we would say, put your business in the street. It wasn't even supposed to be a book. It became a book once I realized that, wow, this is helping me make sense of this and heal. And if I'm healing from this, and when I read it to my bestie Goldie Muhammad, sometimes I would read her these poems first thing, and she would be like, wow, sissy, oh my gosh. And she would respond to it in the moments that she was going through. I'm like, well, maybe there's something here. Mm-hmm. And so my responsibility is not to the academy. My responsibility is to my fellow man and woman, and how he, she, they might be able to move through something in their life if they just see a little bit of my story. Yes. So I thank you for saying all that. And all of our stories are important. All of our stories are worthy. And it is connected, Leo, to both the self-work and the self-worth. Mm-hmm. That when you do the work and you come to be able to articulate your story, to know that your story is worthy enough to share with others. And I thank you for being in this circle with me. I want to ask something, might be a little bit personal for both of you. Moza, where does baggage show up in your life? And have you set it free, or are you still holding it? And Leo, if you could tell someone what you want, 3 things that you want, what would those 3 things be that you would tell a partner? Mm. So if you can just sit with that, and Moza, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, where does baggage show up in your life, and have you released it, or are you still holding on?
Well, for me, I think a lot of things I've experienced, in my life. I mean, growing up, we grew up, wow. I think a lot of times, well, for me, I feel like I'm always trying to write the past. I'm trying to write a past that I inherited and experienced as a child, write my own past and my own mistakes. The baggage is absentee father, the pain of not having a parent, a father who was there and with you day in and day out, and I feel like a lot of the ways that I, like with my husband, I'm always looking, and I think for me, the healing is in seeing how he engages our girls. And in some ways, it's like, not having a father to count on, it has been so healing to see the way this my husband Gary shows up for the girls, how he's there day in, day out. And for me, truly being a Christian has also been a way to heal, you know.
Yes, yes.
I had a father that I y'all making me cry now. couldn't always count on events he was never there for. It's my cousin who walked me down the aisle, you know. But I encountered a father who would not leave me. And to me, being a Christian is very much about healing from that baggage, that way that you can't count on. I couldn't count on my earthly father, and I'm not trying to put him down. I'm just telling you what I lived, what I experienced. And even the fear of men and the fear of being in relationship with them, I was just always waiting for, well, when are you going to let me down?
Yes, yes.
And I'm just so grateful for how my marriage, being married, I married 18 years just last week, you know. And every day I say, by the grace of God, you know, every day I'm working. I realize my husband isn't perfect, but I see how God, he uses him as an instrument of healing in my mind, in my life.
Yes.
And just being able to witness the ways he loves the girls, he tries. He's not a perfect father, he's not a perfect man, but the way he shows up with his full self, full intention, is healing for me to witness. It's healing to fall into the arms of a God who I feel he's always got me. You know, there are times you know, you can be alone, but I've never been lonely. You know, I feel his comfort. I feel the security. I've run into his arms in prayer, and I've just felt being held in his arms, you know. So I think I'm healing from the baggage. I never want to say I'm healed because I realize I'm always in a process. And there are times that I didn't realize I had baggage in an area. I see something, I experience something that says, whoa, I didn't know I had that. I didn't know I was carrying that, you know. And I'm always praying to turn my baggage into a blessing where I could share. Just right now, I hope that, you know, I always talk to my girls about how blessed they are, you know, that me not having a dad, and just look at how blessed you are, being able to share the pains and how I'm growing. I'm always wanting to share my vulnerability with my girls because I never want them to think, oh, mommy doesn't have faults, mommy is perfect. That doesn't bless my girls. To make them see how I walk through this world, sometimes stumble through this world, and I'm always leaning on God, leaning on my community, leaning on my family to really carry me through on this journey. That's where I'm at.
Wow. And I want to thank you so much for the prayer that you prayed over us before we opened up, right, this segment, and just the calm, because in your voice, there is such deep belief and faith. And I felt it. I don't know if you felt it, Leo, but I felt it. And thank you, Moza, for everything that you said. And this is the hope of doing this. Yes, at the time of COVID, a lot of creative things have come out, but it's in line with that last line of the book. I was set free because I let go. All I want is for people to heal. And I want to believe, Moza, that what you just said and what Leo has shared and what he will share will heal somebody out there. I want to believe that even if there's 3 people that view this, that at least one of them is supposed to hear it and will be healed. So thank you for that vulnerability. Leo, what do you want?
What I want to do right now, though, I'll talk a little bit, maybe, if I can remember it, because I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just so engrossed with what Lisa was saying. And, you know, I guess I'll start there, and then maybe that'll lead me into something. But the beauty of the poem Baggage, when it starts to talk about the story, and Moza, you made me think about my father, who I never met. And the process of sort of, and for me, it's an ongoing process in terms of forgiving him. Even, he died when I was a kid. So, if I say, I forgive you, I don't know that it makes a difference, but it makes a difference to me. And I think the reason why baggage is so important to think about that is because I don't know he was carrying baggage. I don't know his story, and so just that realization to know that he had his own baggage and he had his own story that I don't know, that sort of releases me. It really does, it helps me to humanize him. And it also helps me to forgive him because he was a flawed human. And so I think that's sort of, to try to segue into what I want. I want someone to help me figure it out, to join me in this journey. Because I want someone who doesn't think that he, in my case, has it all figured out. Because I know I don't have it all figured out. And I don't know, I haven't really thought about what I want in terms of a relationship because I've gotten to the point where I don't know how important that is to me anymore. And I don't want to make it sound like let me tell you, I would drop everything if, the person comes into my life. But I don't know. I remember, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. I remember working with a group, Black Men's Exchange, a long time ago, where a group of brothers came together and talked, and it was in someone's living room, and I ended up calling it the healing space.
Playing from Galaxy S8.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's quite all right.
You never know what's going to happen in the vortex.
Exactly. In the vortex, that's exactly right.
You never know. I just unplugged Alexa because you never know who's listening to us.
She wants to get in on this. It's such a great conversation. She wants to get on it.
That's exactly it. Anyway, the healing room,
yeah,
you
in
said.
The healing room. I remember one brother talking about, wondering if it's going to happen, he was later on in life, and and everybody was like responding with, oh, of course it's going to happen. It's going to happen, just, stick in there and everything. And I was thinking about that as they were sort of reassuring him and everything. And I thought out loud, what if it doesn't happen? What if it doesn't happen? Does that mean that his life is less than? And it sort of leads me to, the best love of all, which is self-love.
Yes, amen to that.
And so, what I want is someone who loves themselves. Someone who loves themselves. Because when that happens, then, you don't need to, because a lot of love relationships are about competition. If you love yourself, you're not trying to change anybody else. You love people for who they are. So those are two things. Someone who will help me to figure things out in this journey. Someone who loves himself. And also, for me, it has to be someone who loves, I'm gonna say Black people first.
Yes.
Someone who loves Black people, but I don't think that it's possible to simply just love Black people. You have to love people.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I've never thought about it, and to answer, the three things, but I really do think that those are the three things, and we'll see.
Wow. So recap them for us. Love of self, loving Black people.
And joining me to figure it out, helping me to figure it out. Somebody who can figure it out with me.
And maybe love the journey of that.
Yeah.
You would not believe that our time is already up. I mean, did that not feel like 5 minutes to you? It felt like 5 minutes, and yet it felt like time stood still. I want to turn to each of you and let you have the last word. Anything you want to share, anything you're wondering about. Also, you know, anyone listening out there who is seeking love, who is in the pursuit of love, anything from your experience, it's open. Just want to give each of you the last word. And Leo, why don't we start with you and we'll end with you, Moza.
Okay. I guess I'll start by talking about how, very quickly, about how this quarantine or staying in place, or whatever we call it, sheltering in place, has not bothered me in the least, because I'm very much a loner. I could actually live this way for quite a while.
I probably could too.
But I do love these moments where I have an opportunity to connect with other people, especially people who I love, people who get me, at least on a certain level. And so I'm very thankful for this opportunity and others that I've had like this over the last few weeks, to help me stay connected to humanity. And I also want to talk about, very quickly, about the power of this book, what it has done, just reading these poems. And every time I read it, I mean, we, you know, as teachers, we know that, you know, rereading is one of the best strategies. And every time I read something, you know, I learn something more about everything of what was said. I read something that I didn't pick up before. And so this book has been a gift to me. I've had an opportunity to go back to it multiple times, and every time I go back, I read something that transforms me. So thank you. Thank you for this gift in the form of this book, and thank you for the gift of this opportunity to talk with you today.
You're welcome. Thank you. Moza.
Leo, you took what I was gonna say, Leo.
That's what happens when you're connected, right? When your energy is connected.
You know what? There's this proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And I believe we're all in this for the journey. And the journey is a far and a long journey. And there's just power in community. There's healing in community. And I just pray that whoever's out there will know that I believe your healing is made more effective when it's done in fellowship and in community. And this book is a beautiful way to find that community, find that circle that you can enter and sit and learn from people's stories, figure out what it is you want, and just grow in doing the work and grow in the love of self and in the love of the community that you're a part of. So go and get it. Go and get it. Buy it now at your local bookstore.
And I am working with Black and Latinx bookstores. They don't know who I am. I have to get myself out there, but that's my goal, to move away from Amazon. You know, hey, it's getting it out there, so I'm grateful. But we also know there are a lot of things with Amazon and these big corporations that don't set with us, particularly as people of color, and do more harm than good. So it's kind of like that double-edged sword. But I am working on getting into the bookstores that are across the country that are Black owned and Latinx owned. And with that, I want to thank Leo and tell you that I love you. And thank Moza and tell you that I love you. And thank all of you who fell into the vortex with us. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next time on Fall into the Vortex with Yolie. Bye.